You are no fun anymore. Where's the
Dude, that's
Monahan that I
just
knew?
dude, come on, man. There's
I
a
tell
time
you,
to there's
I
there's
tell
a
you an awesome story about a dominatrix, and you just to the death of fun.
I,
What's going on, everybody?
what's going on, Wedgeworm Nation? And we have Week 9 fantasy football. Barfy is on location in Pittsburgh, which is interesting, right?
It's a depressing
Yeah.
town right now. I'm telling you right now. I had my Eagle shirt on yesterday, and you want to talk about a stink eye? This is all I got. You embarrassed us. No, you embarrassed yourselves with Kenny Pick Six. Not my fucking problem. Not my problem.
All right. All right, well, we're just going to jump right into it this week, right to our must starts. And Barfy, all right, so your must start this week for quarterback.
All right, so this week I went to Tagovailoa. Everything's clicked with Tagovailoa in Week 6 at Detroit, as he was 29 of 26, passing for 382 yards and 3 touchdowns, along with 19 rushing yards. He did beat up on a bad defense, as he should do the same thing this week against the Bears. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle baby are unstoppable right now. And Chicago has allowed 3 of the past 5 opposing quarterbacks to score at least 22 fantasy points. This defense just traded its 2 best players in Robert Quinn and Raekwon. And Tagovailoa should have another strong outing in this matchup.
No, I think it's going to be.
Go.
It should be a. It should be a good matchup. It's funny. I actually got to do a little social media spat with some people about Tua Tagovailoa.
What a shock!
Yeah, I know, right? A shock. You know what? But I'm batting 1,000 against these morons with eventually, with Cam Akers and all. Those Cam Akers lovers, how'd that work out? And anyway, but yeah, we're talking. It was Tua said something about how he's improved on his deep ball, and all I said was calm down a little bit. You got to give credit to the wide receivers that you have around you that actually make that possible, because you threw the ball short going deep a lot. These guys got a high point and coming back to the ball. And oh boy, did I get hit with some freaking meth head Florida Miami fans. Especially they were some goofy looking motherfuckers, I'll tell you that. But
I'll be in Miami next week, so I'm sure I'll be like, Cam, to go take a ball is really good. I throw ball far.
Well, you know what? In all honesty, I'm going to be let's be straight about Tua Tagovailoa. He's got 1,600 yards on the year. About maybe a little over half of that is in 2 games. He has 12 touchdowns on the year. 9 of that, 2 games. So let's all pump our brakes. And those 2 games were against probably the bottom 5 in passing, like defense, like the defense. Right. It was Baltimore. Baltimore's got a trash secondary, and who's the other one? Detroit. Like it's calmed down a little bit on the Tua trade, but yeah, this week against Chicago, because Chicago totally nuked their defense, getting rid of Robert Quinn and Raquan Smith, or however you say it. So yeah. Raquan. But going with mine, I had Justin Fields. I had him on the waiver wire pickup. I had him on the waiver wire must pick up this week. He's been fantastic over the last couple weeks. He's finally using his legs, getting outside the pocket. Over the last 3 weeks, he hasn't had less than 60 yards rushing, thrown a touchdown or 2, running the ball, and now he's throw Claypool in the situation. Though I think he's not going to get totally acclimated for another probably week or 2 into the offense, but he's still going to have a package or 2 where Fields is going to just throw it deep and Claypool's going to have to come down for it. So all in all, Miami with the 27th ranked defense against quarterback production, Justin Fields is definitely going to have his this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a good. As long as it's good football, it shouldn't matter what it is. Either way, that's going to be a good game to watch. two okay teams playing their okayest.
But hey, real fast, if you're watching this, hit that like and subscribe button. A lot of work goes into these shows, a lot of time spent pre-production, a lot of editing goes into this, and hey, let's get the word around. More subscriptions, the wider the audience. Hit that share button, that'd be great too. Hit it on the social media pages. Buddy, who do you got for running back?
So for running back, I have Jamal Williams of Detroit. Now I know you got DeAndre Swift. People have DeAndre Swift. Everyone's going to say that DeAndre Swift, but I wouldn't be. But I feel that Jamal Williams will be a better fantasy option against the Dolphins in Week 8. Williams had 10 carries, 53 yards, and 2 touchdowns, along with 3 catches for 23 yards on 3 targets. Swift in his first game back from a 3-game absence with an ankle and shoulder injuries, had 5 carries, 6 yards, 5 catches, and 27 yards and a touchdown. He's still not 100%, so I feel Jamal Williams will be fine for Week 9. Williams, who is second to Nick Chubb with 8 rushing touchdowns, has now scored at least 15 points in 4 of 7 games this year. The Packers have allowed 8 running backs to score at least 12 points this season, and Williams would love to score against his former team.
Yeah, man, I totally forgot Jamal Williams played for Green Bay. I totally forgot. But I like the matchup. I am a DeAndre Swift fan. I have him on, 2 of my 3 fantasy football leagues, and wait for him to come back 100%. Until then, you're going to see a heavy dose of Williams. He's vulture in those, inside the 10-yard carries, and he's going to continue to do that until Swift proves he's back to being Swift, who healthy is a top 5 running back in this league. He just has that extra gear that Williams doesn't have. And until that happens, it's going to be Williams' show. Well, not this show, but Swift will play a little, sideshow-ish for him.
Right. It's going to be the Swift and Williams supporting cast of Williams.
All right, I went with Raheem Mostert. Raheem Mostert going against Chicago.
I almost picked him too, but I had a gut feeling you were going to say Mostert this week. I had a gut feeling for it. I was going to pick him like that's a Monahan pick if I've ever seen one. Sorry, good continue.
Well, yes, bring on the chloroform. Chlorophyll, that too.
Please make that one of your questions for Shot Collar Roulette.
Oh, he should. But all right, so I went with Raheem Mostert this week for my must-start running back. Raheem Mostert over the last couple of weeks has been kind of like wishy-washy. He's had, an 18, 19-point week. He's had his 5-point week, his 7-point week. Not really a lot of consistency there. This week, going against Chicago, 29th ranked running back production in fantasy football. I see that he's probably going to have a bigger week this week, especially the fact that Chicago has totally nuked their front 7, and he's going to probably have monster holes to run through. The addition of Jeff Wilson kind of has a little bit of issue. He knows the Mike Daniels system, so he might cut into the carries a little bit, but I think that'll allow Mostert to stay fresh, and that goes a long way for running backs. So as you saw, they got rid of Chase Edmonds. Edmonds wasn't able to pick up the system, it seems. So Jeff Wilson comes in and hopefully picks up a little bit of slack to keep Mostert fresh. Because we all know Mostert gets overloaded, Mostert gets hurt. And we don't want that just yet for our fantasy football team, unless you don't have him. It's on like your first place team in your league, and you're like, oh yeah, he's down now. All right, cool. But
do you have Mostert?
I do not have Mostert. I don't. I don't have Mostert because I stay away from him because he's burned me two seasons, and I was like, I no, not doing this, not this year.
No.
Not doing it this year. Sorry, buddy. But yeah, Raheem Mostert must start this week. You got to do it. Got to pull that trigger. If you were thinking about maybe not, you're gonna do it this week.
Do it.
Wide receiver.
All right. So I went with Mr. DJ Moore. Whether it's Christian McCaffrey's absence or the awakening of PJ Walker, Moore has been unleashed the past 2 weeks. And he shouldn't slow down in Week 9 against the Bengals. who just lost cornerback. I'm not even going to pronounce this. It looks like it says Chewbacca. When you put the whole name, Chidobe Awuzie with an ACL injury. Chewy. Against Tampa Bay and Atlanta, Moore has 21 targets for 13 catches, 221 yards, and 2 touchdowns for 46 PPR points. He looks like he's a he looks like the breakout receiver we called. We did talk. Was it this year or last year? We said he was going to break out the season.
Probably in our. Was it in our pre?
I think so. That's what I mean. I thought we talked about him. That's why I wrote it in here. We talked about him in the preseason, and he has a top 10 upside this week.
I agree. Absolutely. So with my wide receiver, I'm with Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin has been kind of on the same way. He's not been the Chris Godwin we know, and it could be along the lines of Brady. I don't know how. I can't put my finger on it. I'm not ready to blame Brady all the way because there's been plenty of drops amongst this wide receiver crew. So with Chris Godwin, he's averaging about 11 targets a week over the last couple of weeks, 12, 11, 11. So he's getting the target share. Is Brady putting it on the money like he used to? Maybe not. I don't know. But with that target share, he's getting plenty of chances. So he's going to have to eventually come down with a touchdown. And this week could be that week with going against the Rams. You have Mike Evans that's going to be shadowed by Ramsey all game. So Godwin's going to run free. I think this is going to be a week for Godwin owners to play him and feel comfortable in doing so and getting double-digit production out of him, like mid-teen production out of him, depending if you have half-point PPR or PPR. Then it's PPR. Then you're going to have probably higher teens if you have PPR. So, yeah, your flex.
Yeah. So we'll talk later about Buccaneers. So my flex, I know you didn't agree with this. I went with AJ Dillon. I know you're like, what are you doing with this guy?
Yeah.
But just hear me out, man. Come on. You know this shit. You know when I pull this out, I'm usually.
I know it crossed my mind when I was like, you pick this. Like I just shake my head at the pick, and it ends up getting 2 touchdowns and 70 yards or something like that on 10 carries, and I'm just like, you fucking did it again.
You son of a bitch, you did it.
Son of a bitch.
All right. So this is the week. If there's ever a week to buy back into Dillon, now I'm not going too crazy here. Low end starter, a flex position. It's against the Lions. Detroit is number 3 in most fantasy points allowed to opposing running backs, and 8 running backs have scored at least 12 PPR points against the defense. Aaron Jones should be the star. I'm not saying anything against them. Should be the star in week 9, but I expect Dillon to get double-digit in carries for the 7th time in 9 games in this matchup. Of the 8 running backs with at least 10 carries against the Lions, only Raheem Mostert in week 8 failed to score or gain at least 100 total yards. This will be Dillon's best game since week 1.
So you're saying in order for Green Bay to beat Detroit, they have to run the ball and take it out of Aaron Rodgers and the wide receiver's hands?
Yep.
Okay. I agree. I think the less Aaron Rodgers throws downfield to that knucklehead bunch, the better. I totally agree with that.
We'll talk later about Aaron Rodgers.
We'll talk later about Aaron Rodgers. Okay. Moving on. I have the layup of the week is Joshua Palmer. He's your waiver wire stud that you need to pick up. There's no Mike Evans, no Keenan Allen. He's going to continue to get the ball. Last week he had 12 targets for 9 receptions. Though 57 yards is not a lot of yards that you want out of that kind of target reception share. You still have Austin Eckler coming out of the backfield that's going to dig into those targets. But other than that, Justin Herbert is going to throw the ball to Palmer all day long. And it's nothing it's not an issue. Volume is great for wide receivers. The more volume, the better. It's just hopefully it's a little bit farther down the field and a little bit more yards, which this week should be, because going against Atlanta, you have to play any wide receiver that goes against Atlanta because they are terrible against wide receiver production, where they're 31st. So I went with Joshua Palmer. Hopefully, you all picked him up. He should have been number 1 on the waiver wire claim. Your fab should have been, 30% or whatever, and what have you. And all right, well, we're going to jump right into our sleepers and redeemers. All right, Barfy, you got quarterback for your sleeper redeemer.
So speaking of Green Bay, as I said already, I did go with Aaron Rodgers. Why? Because if Aaron Rodgers cannot, well, let me start over with that one. Rodgers has great history against the Lions. 24 career games against Detroit.
Who doesn't?
Huh? Who doesn't? Correct. I just want to see him own the entire Midwest. I mean, even though Detroit's considered North, but that's still part of that Chicago, But so in the 24 games against Detroit, he's passed for 6,055 yards, 52 touchdowns, and just 8 interceptions. In his past 5 games against Detroit, he has 1,493 passing yards, 15 total touchdowns, and just 1 interception. He's been a mediocre fantasy quarterback this season. I should know. He's my quarterback. Scoring 20 points or less every game. But this could be a breakout performance, especially if Alan Lazard is healthy. I know since we're doing these earlier, we don't get the injury report like we used to. Lions are number 3 in fantasy points allowed to opposing quarterbacks this year. So either the guys are going to learn how to catch, or they're going to run the ball, or they're just going to run it down their throats. My theory is it might be a little bit of both. He's going to sprinkle it in.
All right, well,
I love how you disagree. You're like, I don't want to say I disagree, but you're like,
no, because we just talked about how the game plan was to run it and keep it out of the wide receiver's hands, so A.J. Dillon could go off, and now we're talking about we're going to have an even 50-50 game plan where Aaron Rodgers is going to get the ball out to Alan Lazard and Romeo Doubs, and
so if you look, but if you think of it this way, the teams that win are mostly running. You still got to do a 60-40 when it comes to running to passing. So either way, it's a good split. Either way, you can't go wrong with either picking up a good running back or running Rodgers.
So your expectation is Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon will be a straight carry split, 50-50.
I'm thinking that's a shit team. Let everybody play.
Okay. Sure, why not?
You're when I get that text on Sunday night when I'm driving home from Pittsburgh, I hate you. Just remember that.
Possibly. All right. Well, I went with last week. I kind of was like, I've never been a fan of this guy for fantasy football, but this week, I'd say matchup wise, Derek Carr's got to be a guy you're going to want to play going against Jacksonville's 20 ranked quarterback production in fantasy football. Last week, he did absolutely horrendous. The whole team played horrendous. They got blanked. So I think this week, they're going to come out firing. Adams is going to be ready to go. Everyone's going to be ready to go. This is going to be a team that's going to be, all right, let's stop the Jaguars. And they're going to come out and they're going to stop the Jaguars. That's the way I look at it. They played so bad last week. I think they're going to come out and just be ready to go this week. So if you're thinking with all these buys this week, I need a quarterback and I'm not quite sure who to play, Derek Carr could be a boomer bust kind of candidate where he could end up in the top 7 quarterbacks, or he could end up in the bottom. But
so then here's my question to you, because in another league I have both Aaron Rodgers and Derek Carr. Who would you play?
Frickin' burn the house down.
No, but for real, the one friend league I'm in, I have both.
It's like that video with the fucking big ass spider. Fucking just burn it. Oh.
This is fine. Good. I'm glad.
So yeah, matchup wise, you go Aaron Rodgers this week if you have Derek Carr too.
Dear people, Fantasyland, Stop picking up quarterbacks in the third round. You ruin it for the rest of us. This is why we can't have nice things. Go on with the chlorophyll.
Oh, all right. So, where are we? All right, I went with Derek Carr. So, who's your running back for your sleeper redeemer?
So I went with this guy named Deion Jackson. There are two reasons why I like Deion Jackson this week. The biggest reason could be if Jonathan Taylor is out. He did miss practice on Wednesday. If Taylor were to sit against the Patriots, then Jackson would be a number 2 fantasy running back in all the leagues. But even if Taylor plays as expected, then consider Jackson a flex option in PPR leagues, since he'll take over for Nyheim Hines on passing downs. For the reason, Jackson has 14 targets for 14 catches and 108 yards. He could prove to be a valuable weapon for Sam Ehlinger in Week 9. And beyond now that Hines was traded
off. Well, I say, like, because of bye weeks or like that, you're gonna probably, he's a guy that you prioritized in the waivers or possibly after waivers. You got him for cheap to pick up and play. They going against the third-ranked fantasy defense for running back production. It says not a good matchup, but again, you also have to look at the fact that this guy can catch the ball out of the backfield constantly. I think last time he started, he had 10 receptions. So maybe not running the ball, but receiving the ball is where he's going to get his points. So he could be like an Austin Eckler light.
Right. Well, to me, he's 14 for 14 for 108 yards.
Right. So if he's catching the ball out of the backfield, he's got no problem doing that. And this matchup screams the fact that they're going to probably have to do a lot of checkdowns and things like that. Hopefully, don't forget that they have Michael Pittman to also throw the fucking ball to down the field.
Right.
That would be nice. Anyway, I went with Khalil Herbert as my sleeper redeemer. Khalil Herbert, he's going against Miami. He's 24th against running back production. It seems that from where I look at it, they're kind of phasing David Montgomery out of this offense. He is on a 1-year deal. He's out of here. Herbert's going to be the running back in the future, it seems. It seems that they are making moves for the future, so it's time to get these younger guys in, get them the experience they need, and this is the team that's going forward. So all those David Montgomery guys, owners, this could be a little rough as you see the carry share more in Khalil Herbert's favor going forward. Good matchup. The volume is probably going to be... Herbert always kind of breaks a 30, 40, 50-yard run every game, it seems. Throwing a touchdown, that's a solid week. So if you're looking for a flex option and Khalil Herbert is maybe available on your waiver wire, or not waiver wire, but your free agent, pool, go snag him. Throw him in your flex. He's definitely going to be a solid start this week.
I dig it.
All right, dig it. All right.
Dig it.
Who you got for wide receiver?
So wide receiver, I don't even know how to say this dude's name. I went with Devin Duvernay from Baltimore.
That's correct. That is correct.
That is correct. I'm going to put a gamble on Duvernay this week as a good receiver in all leagues. With Rashad Bateman with a foot injury out, Mark Andrews with his shoulder all banged up, we could see more targets headed for Duvernay on a fast surface. Demarcus Robinson could also be a factor as he just had 6 catches for 64 yards on 8 targets in the game. But Bateman was injured in Week 8 against Tampa Bay. But Duvernay, you know what it reminds me of? That Hellman's commercial back in the day. Dish, Duvernay, Hellman's Duvernay. But Duvernay has the most upside of the group. He scored 16 points against the Buccaneers, and Duvernay now has 3 games this season with at least 12 points. The Saints have also allowed 9 receivers to score at least 13 points this year.
I like Devin Duvernay. I think he is a guy that put him in your flex spot should receive a decent day. I don't the Robinson factor of sharing the target share, everything like that. Mark Andrews. I think if Mark Andrews plays, that helps Duvernay considerably because it takes the safety away over the top, and Duvernay's to take the top off. So giggity, and but yeah, I like Duvernay. All right, I went with Chris Olave, who's been kind of almost a disappearing act over the last week. 5 receptions on 7 targets, 52 yards last week. I think going against Baltimore, who's been absolutely horrible against the pass this year, should see a nice, with the targets that he already receives, he should see a little bit more room to run, and as long as he stays healthy and in the game, which it's always something that you have to worry about with Chris Olave because he always puts himself in a position where he gets knocked out. But anyway, I definitely think Chris Olave, if you have him, you're starting him. I understand that. So definitely say you're going to start him this week and feel comfortable doing it.
Yeah. Go for the candelabra. Good choice.
All right, well, let's move into our bust of the week.
That's a bust.
All right, Barbie, who you got for bust of the week?
It breaks my heart to say his name. I feel so bad for this man, the GOAT, the legend, the man who retired on a high note, came back, and now he's divorced, which means he's going to play until he's dead. But I'm going with Brady. It's been a tough season for Brady so far, who has just 2 games with more than 19 points. He scored 19 points or less in 3 games in a row, and he's only gone 1 game this year with multiple touchdowns. The Rams gave up 36 points to Josh Allen in week 1, but the next 6 opposing quarterbacks, they averaged 11 fantasy points per game. When these teams met in the playoff last year, Brady passed for 329 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, along with a fumble, and scored 15 fantasy points in a 30-27 loss. I see this happening again for Brady this week. It breaks my heart. Jaziel, you're a bitch.
Oh. That's a tough spot, Brady.
You know how hard it is when Jaziel is the breadwinner of that family?
But that's not true, though. And you know what's funny? All this shenanigans and everything supposedly didn't start till over the summer after he signed that big monstrous, $400 or $500 million deal with Fox Sports to be a commentator and everything like that. Then Giselle had an issue. Because she is no longer the breadwinner because Tom Brady now has more money than she is. Funny how that works. Women.
Yeah. I mean, it was a $325 million contract with Fox. That's a lot of fucking money. But why? Literally, think about it this way, man. If your old lady was making an unfathomable amount of money, if you both are still making stupid money, and you can literally say, "Oh, I make more money than my husband," which means that your husband's money is literally like the grocery money, the spare change money. Think about that. Even at $50 million, even making $50 million.
Rich person issues, I guess. I don't know. She wanted to tie with the family and everything like that. I get it. We're going off subject and whatnot. We're going to go blather on. But here's the thing. I don't know. It's tough. If you flip the script and Tom Brady says, Giselle, you've got Model of the Year awards, you got all this, you got clothing lines, you got this, that, and the other. I want you home and I want you to do this now. It's either the family or it's nothing at all. And Giselle says no, or does what she wants and everything, what she loves to do, continues to model or what have you. and Tom Brady wants to then files the divorce. You know what? Tom Brady would be called a misogynist. We called a overbearing husband, and all that stuff. So see how this works. See how this works. How you flip the script on situations, and it's. But I'm not saying that I love women. Women are great. I have a loving wife. She's awesome, and I don't know. Moving on. This has nothing to do with being a bust. This is a personal life thing, but that's just our 2 cents on the situation. I
just have 2 dogs. I just have 2 dogs.
I went with Rondale Moore this week. Rondale Moore coming off a monstrous week. 7 receptions off 8 targets for 92 yards and a touchdown. Going against Seahawks is not a good matchup. 4th best against wide receiver production. They have a solid pass defense. And I don't know. This week, it might not work out for you. I understand you're going to want to ride the wave. He's hot right now because of the nice week, but he's going to come back down to earth where he's going to have that. He's going to get his targets, 7, 8 targets. He might get like 5 receptions, but they're going to be low production where it's going to go back to his, 5-yard ins, and he's going to get the reception. So it's going to be little dink-doink passes and whatnot. Hopkins is the guy that they're going to be trying to take off the top. But I think Hopkins is going to get canned or bottled up by a lot of these the corners and the safeties and everything like that. Seahawks just have an incredible pass defense, so it should be a long day for Cardinals. And Rondale Moore not going to have it this week. Sorry.
I can see that. I can see that happening very well.
All right, well, let's go into our bet of the week. So, Barbara, who do you got for your bet of the week?
So, for my bet of the week this week, I do have the Saints at 2.5 points, 2.5 points. Saints offense has started to look a lot better since in recent weeks as Andy Dalton's comfort level grows. Finally saw a solid defense play where we're expecting the Saints when they shut out the Raiders last week. Finally saw something good out of that. Saints are in primetime home game against the Ravens. Team could be without its top 3 offensive weapons outside of Lamar Jackson. Another reason why Ravens are in trouble. Rashad Bateman is out. Mark Andrews and Gus Evans aren't practicing as of Thursday. So I see a lot of value here for the Saints. So pick it up for the Saints at 2.5.
Okay. To Baltimore.
So
okay.
Saints for the pick.
Saints.
I'm picking the Saints. 2.5.
Gotcha.
Close game.
All right. I went with the Raiders giving a 1.5 to the Jaguars. I think the Raiders come out, like I said, with we were talking about Derek Carr. The Raiders are going to come out firing. They should win this week against the Jags. The over-under's 48. I'd definitely be taking the under on that. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game. It's going to be one of those boring AFC games, and it's going to be like a total snooze fest. But the Raiders are going to pull this one out, and I would take the Raiders. So.
Oh, it's a good choice. I mean, I'm always a Claus Case Raiders fan, so any chance I can bring out my Raider Dave in me.
All right, well, hey, if you're still watching, hey, hit that like and subscribe button. Greatly appreciate it. A lot of work goes into these shows, a lot of editing time and all that, so definitely hit that like and subscribe button. We greatly appreciate it. And we have, 2 weeks from today is Shot Collar? Was that the 19th?
That's right. November 19th. 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 1 p.m., 1 a.m. Your wife would kill me. We have Shot Collar Roulette. Monahan is hosting this one because I have tortured him in the past. Both Bald Bastard and myself have tortured Monahan. So it's his turn to bring the pain. We also have our friends from the Geckos Media who will help doing the production value. So all we have to do is sit there and try to look pretty and get electrocuted. And then everything, they'll be doing all the nice, beautiful production side. Geckos Media is a good company to check out. And I'm thankful that they're a willing participant. So, and this will be live. So, whatever happens. There's no editing in this one. It's straight live. And
if you're looking for those, and if you're looking for those links, what's that?
There's a donation challenge too.
Oh, okay.
So if you for every dollar you donate, the shocker goes up in levels. So hypothetically, you put in $5, you donate $5, it'll be, I'll be shocked at a 5. You put in a 10, I'll get shocked at a 10. Now you put in 100, you're an asshole, but I'm not going to get zapped at 100. It will cap out at 50, but I'll get 2 zaps at 50.
50 sucks.
Yeah, I wouldn't know yet.
But anyway, so what was I going to say? Oh, if you want to know where, how to find Barfy and the Bastard Brigade, in the link below for our link tree, you'll see Barfy and the Bastard Brigade. Just give the link a click. You'll see all the socials in there, merch store and everything like that. Hopefully, Barfy, you fixed the merch store link because it hasn't been working.
Thanks for reminding me.
So check that out, and we will see you next week, gang.